How's it going? In this video I'm going to be going through how to pack a ruck. Now, some things we want to keep in mind when we are packing a rucksack. There's no right or wrong way to do it. What works best for me may not work best for you or any other person. This is just going to be on what works for me. Another thing we do want to keep in mind is with our weight, we want to keep things centered horizontally. So I don't want too much weight to one side. And I want the heaviest of my weight to be roughly in the middle of my pack. There's a few other points that I'm going to touch on as I get to them in this video. So to start, I'm going to have my ruck here. I do have everything laid out to the side roughly how things are going to go as I put them into the ruck. Now on the ruck itself, I've opened up all of my straps as far as possible. And I've also already attached my sustainment pouches to the left and right, and my entrenching tool pouch centered. Again, I do want to keep weight as central horizontally as possible. So when I have this rather large, hefty piece of metal, I do want that centered so that it's not pulling me too far off to one side or another. I've also already put together the divider inside of the rucksack. This just zips closed, and then there are two Velcro flaps on the sides that will hold it into place. I'm going to open this flap, and my modular sleep system is going to fit into this part here, which may take some messing around with to get it to fit correctly. Once I get this in, I am going to zip up the flaps, or the flap. And I am going to buckle and tighten this central strap here. Now I'm going to stand up my ruck and open things out. Making sure that I have done the Velcro flaps on the inside of this compartment. Now towards the bottom, I am going to put the more dense and more heavy items, like this extra set of uniforms, my polypros. I'm going to put that down here both for weight distribution and because these are items that I'm less likely to need. So I can pack them away and have them out of the way so that I can more readily access items that I will need in the field. Now that the uniforms are in, polypros will go in as well, sitting on top of that. That I can more quickly access my polypros if it gets chilly, especially at night. On top of that, I'm going to add my extra underclothing, so shirts and pairs of socks. A rule of thumb that I like to follow, and it comes to bringing socks, is for every 2 days that I'm going to be out, I like to bring 3 pairs of socks. So I have one for each day, plus an extra. And I do prefer, personally, to pack my socks towards the back, towards the frame end, because the Molly Ruck has this zipper here, which I can open up to get to my socks without having to completely open up my rucksack. So my 3 pairs of socks will just fit along my pack or along the frame just fine. I'm going to bring my fleece cap. That's also going to go in there with the shirts and the socks. And my poncho is going to go on top of all of that. Now all of these items here are going to go to the outside. So my entrenching tool or E-tool is going to go into its carrier. And I'm going to buckle that flap. I've already tightened this down so that it is right where I need it to be. Into one of my sustainment pouches, I'm going to put my wet weather gear, the top and the bottom. I have them tightly rolled up and just in this gallon Ziploc bag for ease of storage, and when I need to pull them out, it just slides out or in that much easier. On my other sustainment pouch, I'm going to put in my knee pads, as well as my flashlight, my headlamp, and my paracord. I will also be putting my 100-mile-an-hour tape in here after I go through and tape all of the straps. In the pack lid, I'm going to put items that I may need to get to quickly, especially lighter weight items. So in that case, I have my Ranger handbook, my notebook, PT belt, and my toiletry kit. So with this, we're going to play a little bit of Tetris. Just kind of get things into place as they fit best. I find that it works best if I put my toiletry kit on top of the main items of the pack, and then my notebook and my Ranger handbook towards the front, because as they're hanging over here, they're not going to bunch up and start making or start causing weird issues that you might have with all your loose toiletry items. Another tip to keep in mind is that Ziploc bags are your best friend when packing. They are great for organizing and for waterproofing your gear. So I'm going to open my lid back up. And I'm going to start to close things. So you want to pull the drawstring tight on the nylon extension here, and it helps to put just a loose knot in, such as a doubled overhand, just to keep that closed. These closures aren't always the best, so it is great, especially when a ruck gets thrown around, so that it doesn't burst open and have everything get thrown everywhere. Following that, I'm going to close up this outer cord, and that's also going to get tied off. Looped around my hand and just tucked in here, just to keep things neat and tidy. On my sustainment pouches, I'm going to pull the drawstring shut, tie off, wrap it, and tuck it in, and buckle the flap over the top, keeping this open for the time being. Same thing on this side. Now on my sustainment pouches, I'm going to buckle the horizontal compression straps and tighten them down and tuck them into this part here if I can. Now that I've done the outside pouches, these also do serve as compression straps for this direction. I'm going to do these compression straps around the sides, which will hold in my sleeping system better. And the whole reason we're going around and tightening all these in is so that as we're moving with the ruck, all of that weight is one solid or semi-solid mass. It isn't shifting and causing injury to us. That is all that. Now I'm going to close up my pack lid. And I've personally run each of these vertical straps through the webbing here just to hold it in place better. And on the top here, in this area, is where I'm going to put my sleeping mat. These straps also get run through the webbing. Just so that once I tighten everything down, my ruck is nice, neat, and tidy. Pull all of these. And we are going to pull on the bottom strap to bring this down as low as possible before we touch this top strap. Because any long excess from here can be tucked in underneath. And tightening this down does help to compress in this direction. So that's done. And now I'm going to go for these straps here. Just pull in here. Helps to pull before you tighten. And I just want that to all be relatively evened out. Pull here, tighten this out. Make sure straps are roughly even. That'll show me that it is evened out here. So it's still a little high here. Just pull, tighten out. That looks better. And the last thing we're going to do is we're just going to go through, and any of these loose straps are going to get tucked away and taped off so that they're not hanging all over the place. So things like that are going to get tucked away. Additionally, there are ways to strap your assault pack onto the outside. So to do that, these bottom buckles and these top buckles will just go into the place here, and you will just tighten down as needed so that you can fit your assault pack along the outside of your rucksack. Here, the strap will get routed through, and I'm going to try to get it into these straps here if I can. I do have some pre-cut lengths of tape back here. So now I'm just going to go through and just tape off, wrapping the tape around each of my straps. That's going to keep things together, and especially during air movements, will prevent from tangling and catching on things, which is also good for moving through dense vegetation so that you don't have loose straps that are snagging on every branch or bramble that you come across. I'll come through here. And each of these is just going to get wrapped up and taped to the strap. You also want to make sure any of these straps along the waist belt, the shoulder straps, or the upper parts of the shoulder straps are all taped as well. And my CamelBak, because I like to carry a CamelBak. First, when we loop the straps over my sleeping pad. And then I open up the buckle. And route it underneath here so that as I'm walking, it's not moving too much. Because here, on this side where I haven't buckled it in yet, it's a lot looser. Just open up. Route the strap through. And close off. This also makes it so that I can easily access the drinking tube while I'm on the move. So that's how I pack my ruck. Again, there's no one way to do it, but at the end of the day, this is one way that does function. It works for me. It may very well work for you.